welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we have a Jeep. It's an older Jeep. I think it's a 98 or a 99 Cherokee. The customer complaint is they were driving the vehicle, stepped on the brake light came on, and the brake pedal went to the floor. I did lift it up, as you can see, and I'm going to show you step by step how we figure out what's going on and why the pedal went to the floor. It's pretty clean cut. The brake fluid in the cylinder was empty. The brake light also did come on, so we know we have a fluid loss someplace, whether it's going to be a blown line or it's going to be a bad wheel cylinder. Sorry about that. Blown line, a bad wheel cylinder, a bad master cylinder. When you get into these older vehicles, truck traffic out here today. But when you get into these older vehicles, sometimes what happens is the brake lines themselves rot out and you'll wind up with a puncture or a blowout in one of the steel lines on the car or truck. That's not the case with this one here. But what we do is, the first thing we're going to do is do a visual inspection of it to find out what's going on. I did look under the hood and I can see that the lines leading to the master cylinder and the ABS are not broken, they're all intact. I'm going to take you up front. We're going to look at the brake lines in the front, and then we're going to go in the back and I'm going to show you where that actual failure took place, and then we'll pull it apart and we'll see what we can do to get this job wrapped up and out the door in a timely fashion. So all right, let's get up front. I'm going to show you the first thing you're going to check first. Okay, this is the first thing we're going to check. These are the rubber brake lines right here. As you can see, these lines do take a lot of beatings or a lot of abuse, because every time you turn the wheel in the vehicle, this line bends and flexes. The line itself is not leaking. As you can see, it looks fairly dry. We're looking at the master cylinder. The master cylinder itself is fairly dry. Going to come to the other side. Going to do a visual on the other side. We're going to see that that's not leaking either. It's nice and dry, but the brakes themselves are pretty rusty inside there. You can see how much rust is on those rotors. So we're going to just visually follow the lines all the way back to make sure. As you can see, that's pretty rusty up underneath there, that skinny thin line there. That one is 3/16. That's very, very rusty. It's not broken. So now we're just going to go into the back. Follow the line all the way to the back to make sure no breaks in the line. It is extremely rusty, but it's not leaking. See how it goes into that rubber line right there? This rubber hose right here, it's not leaking there. As you can see back over here, this is where your wheel cylinder would be leaking out of. It would be down in this area right up in here. And this, as you can see, is the problem. So what happened is, it looks like it's probably going to be a wheel cylinder that blew out, but we're going to have to take those lines out of the back of the wheel cylinder there too. So, all right, let's get the drums off the vehicle. We're going to pull the fronts off too. We'll see what that looks like. So, all right, let's get our air gun and let's get started. As you can see, it definitely is a blown wheel cylinder, no doubt in my mind. Let's get a light over here. Alright, I'll bring you in and I'll show you what it looks like. There's no doubt there, huh? Okay. Alright, well, let me explain to you what we're going to be doing here. There is no way you can clean any of this brake fluid out of a brake shoe. Even though you're going to get in here with brake cleaner and you're going to clean it and try to get that out of there, you're going to clean it off, you're going to scuff it up with maybe some sandpaper, whatever. It's going to clean off, it's going to look like it's decent. You're going to put it back on the car after you replace these wheel cylinders, and then what you're going to do is you step on a brake, and that oil that's in this shoe is going to come right to the surface, and it's not going to stop properly. Best thing to do, don't play around. Change the brake shoes, change the springs, and change the wheel cylinders at the same time. We are going to check the star to make sure the star adjuster is functioning properly. All right, let's pull the other side off, and let's see what the other side looks like. It's unusual to have the drums come off that easy. Most of the time they're a pain in the rear end because of the rust lip that's inside right in here, but that surprisingly came right off. Okay, now the way you check a wheel cylinder, I hope you can see this. I'll bring you in a little closer so you can see. The way you check a wheel cylinder to see if the cylinder itself is good or not, first of all, let me just tell you, we are going to change both wheel cylinders left and right. I'm not doing this job unless both of them are changed. But if you were doing it yourself and you wanted to change only one, the way you check a wheel cylinder is you come underneath here, there's a little boot right here on the end. You lift that boot away, and you see that fluid coming out of there? You see that brake fluid coming out? That wheel cylinder is no good anyway. It's not supposed to have fluid in this end of the in this end of the wheel cylinder, because the seal is further up inside here. There should be no fluid coming out that end there. Once you get fluid dripping out right here, this wheel cylinder is then shot also, so it has to be changed. So, all right, let's go in the back. We're going to make some phone calls, and we're going to see what the customer wants to do, and we'll give an idea how much it's going to cost. Okay, I just want to point this out to you too before I go in the back and make some phone calls. As you can see, the brake pads themselves are nice and thick in the front, so we do not have to do anything with the front brakes. We're just going to pretty much concentrate on the backs for now. We're not going to worry about anything with the fronts. Even though there is a significant amount of rust up underneath here, we're not going to do anything with it. So, all right, let's make some phone calls and we'll continue. All right, let's get some prices. David, how you doing, Jim? Hey Dave, 98 Cherokee, back brakes. I need a price on the brake shoes, the hardware kit, the drums, and the wheel cylinders. No, it's a regular Cherokee. Mm-hmm. Oh, I knew you were going to ask that. It's a 9-inch. That figures. Okay, and that's all my cost, right? Okay, and the hardware kit is just the springs. How about like a master hardware kit that comes with the adjusters? Yeah. Okay. All right, very good. All right, let me work on the numbers, see what the customer's going to do, and I'll call you right back. Thank you, Dave. Bye. All right, let's work out a price on it, and we'll give the customer a call and see what he wants to do. So don't go nowhere. Let's give the customer a call, and we'll explain to him what's going on with it. I am going to bring it to his attention that there is a significant amount of rust underneath here, just so he knows what the lines look like before I do anything else with the brakes and the wheel cylinders and the shoes in the back. So let's give him a call, and let's see what we're going to do. Hey, what's up, Benny? How you doing there? Okay, you got time to talk, or you busy? Okay, got the truck inside, took all the wheels off of it. A couple of issues going on with it that need to really be addressed. The fronts, there's the brake pads in the front are actually still fairly thick, so we don't have to worry about anything with that. They're very rusty. The rotors in the front, but the pads themselves are still thick, so that I'm going to tell you, don't do anything with that. What happened is the right rear wheel cylinder blew out. You lost all the brake fluid through the right rear. So we got to change the wheel cylinders in the back, but I also have to change the, I'm sorry, I'm distracted, my phone just rang, sorry about that. I do have to change the wheel cylinders, I have to change the brake shoes in the back also, because when the cylinder blew out, all that fluid gets up inside the brake shoes themselves, and there's no way to clean that out. So I got to change the wheel cylinders, the shoes, I'm going to change the springs on there too. And I mic'd up the drums, and they're already at the maximum. I can't machine the drums any further. They need to be replaced also. So dollar-wise, you're probably looking at somewhere around $500 for everything, and then plus whatever the tax would be. Okay, all right, I'll take care of it. And now, one other thing I want to mention too, with that brake light being on underneath the hood there, I'm not sure why that light should have went off. It should have turned off, so it could be something sticking inside the combination valve, or there's a switch inside there that sometimes it'll stick. When the wheel cylinder blows out and you lose all the fluid, I should be able to, but I'm not sure until I actually get the part in the back corrected first, and then once I bleed it out, then we'll make sure that everything is okay with that switch up in the front there. So, all right. Okay, all right, I'm going to order it up, get started on it. I'll call you when it's finished. Okay, all right, Vinny, talk to you soon. Bye. Okay, we got the okay to go ahead and do the job. So let me place the order, and let's get started. Hey, Jim. Okay, I need everything. All right, and you may as well pick me up that Master Hardware kit. Everything on here is still original. It's extremely rusty, so all right, so the shoes, the two wheel cylinders, the drums, and the Master Hardware. All right, send me up a can of brake cleaner too, please. Yeah, all right, thanks a lot, appreciate it. Bye. All right, let's get in there, get our gloves on, and get to work. Okay, before we get started, I just want to point this out to you. We're going to actually pinch off the brake line, the rubber hose that brings fluid into the vehicle itself, because otherwise we'll have fluid dripping all over the place. So you just come in here with a pair of vice grips, and you pinch the line off. Not too hard, just enough to keep the fluid from flowing through it. All right. Next thing then we're going to do is we're going to go onto the passenger side, and we're going to do the job on the passenger side first. But I just want to give you an example of what tools you're going to need. You're going to need some line wrenches. This is just a 10 millimeter, just in case I do need it. I don't think I'm going to, but just in case. You're going to need some tools to take off the brake shoes themselves, to remove the springs, which is a tool like this. They do have other tools that you can use, but that's what this one, the one I use, is. Of course, some brake silicone. And we do have to clean everything off of here really well before we start, because as you remember, it's quite a mess in there. We are going to use some penetrating oil on the back of the wheel cylinders so we can get the lines off. So, all right, let's spray it up first and we'll continue. First thing we're going to do is in the back of the wheel cylinder, we're going to spray in the back here, just to make sure that that wheel cylinder rotates. All right, as you remember, this was pretty messy. The cylinder blew out, all the fluid was lost through the back over here. So we're going to clean this up real good with some cleaner, and we'll continue. Okay. Now, remember we did pinch off that line over there. Now we're going to clean this off. Now we're not going to do it. We're just going to clean this a little bit so we can work with it, because this is quite a mess here. Now that's just a little bit of help for us. We're going to actually clean this off later on a little bit better. All right? The first thing we're going to do is you're going to take these springs off right here, and you put this little hook right here, up on here, like that, and you rotate it, and you pull the spring off like this. We're going to throw these away. We're not reusing them. You're going to do the same thing on this side over here. Rotate it, and you pull it out. You got to take the spring off. I hope you can see that okay. Okay. All right. We'll take the spring off like this, and this is your rider where your parking brake cable runs around it. So we'll put this off to the side for now, because we are getting that master kit that has everything. We're going to take off this spring right here. It hooks around down on the very bottom down here. Be careful when you take it off. You got to make sure you put it back on the same way. Right? Then what you do is you get in here with a tool like this here. You put it on top here. You hold your hand in the back, and you hold that little pin from rotating in the back like this. You take the shoe off. We're going to take our star out in the bottom. Take the spring off. And then we'll take that other one off. Let me just change my gloves and we'll come right back. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take off that other hold down right here. You hold it in the back with your finger. You put this on here and you push it and you turn it and it comes right off. And then we take our shoe off. We're going to put this off to the side for now, but we will come back to it and we will talk about this parking brake. I'm sorry, the parking brake lever where it goes here, but we're also going to talk about where this self-adjuster mechanism goes. So we'll come back to this. Alright, so we're just going to take this out of here like this. This has to go in the same way it came out, so make sure you remember which way it is. You see that? Make sure you hold on to that way. We're going to get rid of these hold downs here. These are actually trash now too. Sorry about that noise. They're cutting up the concrete outside today. Alright, now we're going to clean this down in here. And actually, you know what? Let's take that wheel cylinder off first and then we'll clean it up. Quite a mess. Alright. What we're going to do is, I hope you can see that, in the back of the cylinder right here, we're going to take out that line right there. Now, most of the time it's metric, but in this particular case, it's not metric. This, for some reason, is 3/8, so. I just want to point this out. Break the line loose. When you break the line loose, make sure that fitting right there is not twisting the line. Make sure it's just the fitting that's coming off and not twisting. If it twists, you're going to break the line and you'll be changing the line. That's not the case here. It's actually turning because we sprayed it up to make sure. Now you can see that line is disconnected. We're going to come in the back with probably a 10mm socket. Again, don't lose this. You're going to need to put this back in there. And then after you have that disconnected, you can get in here with a screwdriver, pry bar, whatever you have, and just pull the wheel cylinder right out. Just like this. And then this cylinder is then trash. And it blew out right in here, and that's where it was leaking from. All right, I am going to clean this up in here. I got to change my gloves again, so let me clean this up, and don't go nowhere. We'll come right back. Okay, now we got our replacement parts here. We're going to install them back in the car. Always make sure that the cylinders are the correct ones. Always match them up with the old one that came out. And as you can see, everything lines up pretty decent. So we're okay. All right? Now what you're going to do, we're just going to take this off here for now. We're going to put this back on later, but we're just going to get that out of the way. Let me get a wrench for this. Okay, what I always do, take the bleeder valve out. It makes it a little bit easier for you to work later on. Just put it on the side someplace for now. Now we're going to take the cylinder and we're going to catch the line first before we try to catch the bolts in here. All right, so that's what we're going to do. Let me bring you up here so I can show you. All right, so get the wheel cylinder in place. Make sure you have your bolts lined up where they previously came out. Lift it up. And you just turn your line in by hand until you catch it. You're not going to tighten it up tight. You're just going to screw it in by hand. We're just going to screw it in a little bit. We're not going to tighten it up too tight. All right, so now that we know that our lines are caught, take your wrench out of there. And then we can put our 10mm bolts in the back that we previously took out. And then you can maneuver your wheel cylinder around just to get the bolts so that they catch. You're not going to tighten them up tight, you're just going to catch them loose. So now we have the one caught. Now we're going to catch our second one in from the other side here. Okay, once you've got that caught, then we can tighten it up with a ratchet. We're going to tighten up the bolts first that hold the wheel cylinder in place, and then we'll tighten up the line itself. Now if you have a ratchet, you can use it. If you have a wrench, you can use a wrench. Whatever you have, it'll be fine. I always use a 3/8 because you don't want to take a chance on snapping these bolts off. Next thing we're going to do now is we're going to tighten up that wheel cylinder in the back. Remember, that was the 3/8. Okay. So now, both our bolts are tight, and the line coming into the back is tight. Next thing we're going to do now is we're going to put that bleeder valve back in there. Now, before I tighten the valve up, I usually grab the wheel cylinder here and push it in. Push it closed, and then I snug that line up. Then I snug up the bleeder valve in the back. All right? Now, the wheel cylinder is finished. All right, next thing we're going to do now is we're going to lubricate every place that the brake shoes touch. So let's continue with that. Right, every place that the brake shoes are going to touch, you want to lubricate it. Just like this. Especially now that we've taken all of that grease and oil off of here. Also lubricate up here where the brake pad itself, where the brake shoe slides, like that. All right. All right, let me change my gloves again and we'll come right back. Okay, now, remember we said we're going to come back to this parking brake. This is to adjust the self-adjuster for the brakes. Remember I said we're going to come back to that. Now, as you can see, you know what, let's take it off and I'll show you. The way you take it off, just pull this down like this, and you can lift it right off just like that, and it comes right off. Turn it, and we'll take it out, and we're going to take our spring and take it off as well, like that. Make sure that you have the correct shoe. See how this is? See how this is here and this is here? You see this one? It's on the opposite side. So make sure you have your pin in the correct location. So this is the one that we need to use. We're going to get rid of these now. I just want to point this out to you too. Always match up your shoes to make sure just that all your openings are in the correct location. As you can see, everything is correct on this shoe. I only use premium stuff, so there is never an issue most of the time. So we're just going to leave that there for now. We're going to get rid of this. All right, now we'll get, keep that thought. We'll come right back. Okay, welcome back. Okay. Like I said, we were going to change all of the springs and such, and the reason we were going to change that is because this is the star, and this is frozen. This doesn't move at all. This is supposed to turn freely, and it doesn't turn at all. So that's why we're going to be changing the star here as well. All right, now what you're going to do is, remember we talked about this here. We have these springs. What we're going to do now is we're going to open up each one of the kits. This is a master kit, which comes with all of the springs as well as the adjustment hardware. So we're going to open this up. Now, I just want to point this out to you too. There is a left and a right side. We have everything out of this bag. This is trash. Okay, when you look in here, somewhere on here, we're on the right side now, we're working on the passenger side. So somewhere in here it'll tell you right side and left side. That doesn't say anything. Let's take a look here. Keep everything separate so you don't mix it up. Okay. We're looking for something that says R or L. Okay. don't know if you can see that, but right inside here, let's see, I don't think so, but right inside there it says R, so we know that this is the right side, and this is the one we need. All right, this piece goes in here like this, and you can see how it turns nice and freely now. That's the way it's supposed to work. Okay, so this is the kit that we're working with now. This pin here, we're not going to need it because the shoe already came with that pin in there, so this we're going to throw away. This is our new spring that we're going to use. Match it up to make sure it's the same. As you can see, this one is the same. This we can throw away. Now remember that spring, it went on like this. I'm going to put this on and I'll come back and I'll show you how. Okay, like that. Then we take our adjuster that we previously removed, and it goes on like this. And then we take the spring. Oh no, I got my glove stuck in there, huh? Okay. Okay. That's how it goes, just like that. So now when the adjuster pulls up on this, this pulls up and goes right down, up and right back down. All right, so this one here is all set. Okay, so we're going to put this shoe on first. This piece here, I'm going to show you now because it's going to be hard to see up in the car itself. This piece here goes in there just like that. Make sure that it comes through that hole in the back. Very important. I've seen a lot of times where people have these on here and this won't be in the hole. It'll be off the hole like that, which then defeats the whole purpose of having this cable, because instead of being in here, it's over here, and that reduces the amount of pull that this is going to create on you. All right? So we're just going to keep this right here for now. This we're going to throw away also. This is our master kit. We're going to keep everything else right there for now. Open up your master kit. And this has... Okay, make sure everything is lined up so you have all your pieces. And as you can see, all of these springs are the same. These are the same. Everything here is the same. All right? Okay. Okay, so make sure you match up your length of your pins to make sure they're the same. They are. We're going to put these together. You just push the end cap on and it snaps on just like that. We do this on all of them. You'll hear them snap in. Okay, so now we're going to just take two here, one of these, and these we don't need right now. And that's pretty much what we're going to need right now to put this job back together. So, all right, let's turn the camera around and let's get started there. Remember, we lubricated every place on here that has to be lubricated. We're going to put our parking brake lever back through here. We're going to lift this up there. You take your pin, you put it through the back of the backing plate, and you bring it right through here, and then you take your spring, hold it on the top, take your tool, and you're going to turn it. I'll show you in a second how this goes. the way it goes is that this piece comes through here like this. And then you take it and you rotate this so that it's 90 degrees of the opening. And that way it'll hold it in place and it won't come back out. So see, you're going to put it over the top, turn the spring, and lock it in place. Okay? All right, next thing we're going to do, we're going to take the strut piece right here for the parking brake. Take this off. Let me show you this. One hand you take it off, the other hand you put it on. Comes off, goes right back on. See? Just like that. This is now garbage. This, you're going to put across the shoe and right up against the back like that. And now that we're going to leave right now just the way it is. Put your cable up over the top. And there's only one way this cable goes on. You see how this is flat in the back and this protrudes out a little bit? The flat piece goes against here, just like that. And you're going to leave it just like this for now. I'll show you what we're going to do. It's not the right way, but it's just temporarily. Okay. Then you take your rider here. Remember I talked about that piece got to go into that hole. You put it in the hole like that. Hold it with your finger. Take your spring. Put your spring in. Still holding that rider with your finger. Rotate this up like this. You got to take your tool. Hook the tool over the top like this. Take this over the top like that. And now take this around like this. Right? You take your tool like this and you bend that spring closed all the way, and that part is pretty much done. Our rider is in the correct location. We're going to take this and we're going to hook it right on there. So you put that spring, you put this cable here around that rider. I got to get a screwdriver. All right, make sure your cable is back behind here like this. And then we're going to take this, we're going to lift up on here and hook it around your spring. Now you have everything in place right here. This self-adjuster is hooked on here. Next thing we're going to do now is we're going to put our shoe in this side here. Put your pin through the back like that. You're going to hold the pin with your hand. Put it through where it belongs. You're going to line up in here where it belongs. Don't worry about getting it exactly right yet. The main thing is we're going to attach this with this hole down here first. All right, so you're holding it in the back with your finger in the back so it doesn't move. Okay, now once you have this cord in here, now we can get everything set the way it belongs right here. Okay, we're going to put our other spring right here into the hole like this, push it in place, take your tool, hook it on here, pull it over the top like that, make sure that this is bent down like this. Now if you don't have this to bend it down, you can get in here with a pair of pliers too. Okay? Make sure that your rod is in the correct location. And now we're going to put in our self-adjuster down the bottom. This one here, we're going to hook it over here first. And that one, we're going to get a pair of pliers. And we're going to pull that into its location like that. And now we're going to install our star. Now the way a star goes in is this lever here. See how this is? You need to have this piece here that slides like this towards the back, because if you turn this out, I'm going to show you real quick. If you put this on the wrong way like this and put it on here, this is going to slide past the adjuster and it will not be able to adjust. So make sure you put it on with this piece here that slides like this to the back of the vehicle. We'll put that in first. And now we're going to take the shoe and pull the shoe out, and then we'll put the star into where it belongs. And you just pull it. And I'm going to bring in there, I'll show you how it is. Now let me get a light over here and we'll talk about this right now. Okay, so make sure your two springs are connected here. Make sure your adjustment cable is on there. Make sure your rider is in the hole where it belongs with the cable behind it. This here, the cable is connected down to the self-adjuster, down the bottom like that. Our hold-down screws are in place with the opening turned 90 degrees of the pin itself. Our star is in position right here. It's on the shoe. Our hold downs that pull it back together are right here. That hold down is 90 degrees of the opening. Our parking strut itself is in the shoe the way it belongs, right there and there, and that's it. We're all set. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to clean the drum up, because the drum, when it comes from the factory, has grease inside of it. I'll show you. This has an oily film inside here, so we're going to get some brake cleaner. We're going to clean this out, and then I'm going to show you how to adjust it. Okay. Now we cleaned up our drum, and the drum, obviously, you know, it just goes right on over the top like that. But as you can see, it's very, very loose. We need to adjust it. The way we're going to do the adjustment is you can do it two ways. Underneath the back, right here, on the outside, I'm going to bring you underneath there, I'll show you in a second. There's a little tiny hole in the backing plate right here. You take this piece here out, throw it away because we have a new one. And then the way you adjust it is you take this tool, you put it into the bottom there, and I'm going to see if you can see it. I don't know. Let's try it and see. Hopefully you can see that. You see how this tool goes up inside there? And then what we do is you just take it and you adjust it. See how that turns? And adjust just like that. See how it's moving out? Now remember what I said about that. This is the piece that's going to adjust here. This stays stationary at all times and doesn't move. All right, so we're going to adjust it like this. Now we're going to put the drum on, and we're going to continue doing this. Actually, you know what? We're pretty much set already. You want to be able to turn the drum one revolution, so I'm adjusted pretty good already. But if you needed to adjust it more, you just go in the back with your tool, down underneath the bottom. I'll bring you in there, I'll see if I can show you. Just like this. You put it in here like that, and you adjust it like that, okay? So now we're all adjusted. We're going to put that plug back in this cover right here. And the way that it goes in there is you just take it, put it in there like that, push it, and it pops right back in where it belongs. All right, so let's check it one more time. That's really good. So we're not going to do anything more with that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same thing on, hang on, let me just take these gloves off. Okay, so now after this is all done here and all adjusted, we're going to go to the other side, do the exact same thing on the other side. After we do that on the other side, then we're going to come in here, we're going to bleed these brakes. The way you bleed the brakes is you just pretty much have the assistant get up inside the vehicle, step on the brake pedal, push it to the floor, you open up the bleeder valve, let the air out, you close the bleeder valve, your assistant takes their foot off the brake pedal, and they pump it 3 or 4 times, step on it, you open up your bleeder valve, let the fluid come out. Once it comes out, your assistant's foot is on the floor, you close the bleeder valve. Just give me 1 second, bear with you. You close the bleeder valve, sorry, business calls. You close the bleeder valve. Once the bleeder valve is closed, you do it again. You pump it a couple more times until all of the air comes out of the wheel cylinder. Once all the air is out, then you're all set. Remember, when you're bleeding brakes, you do right rear first, left rear second. Always the one that's the furthest away from the master cylinder is the one you want to start bleeding out first. All right, any questions or comments, or you need any advice, send me an email. I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody about anything. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.